The movie opens in a dystopian kingdom ruled by the van der Kooi family. The family includes the head, Hilda, her brother, Gideon, sister Melanie, and Melanie's husband, Glenn. They are notorious for punishing anyone who dares to speak against them. Every year, they hold a ceremony known as the Culling, in which 12 rebels are gathered and killed on live television. Next, we're introduced to a little kid named Boy, who lives with his mother and little sister Mina. The siblings are pretty close and enjoy doing simple things like playing arcade games and watching TV. Unfortunately, their happy world is shattered one day when the Kooi family apprehends them. During a culling ceremony, Boy's mother and sister are shot right in front of him. He is then tortured, his tongue removed, and he is hung from a tree. Boy thinks he's going to die, but a shaman unexpectedly comes to his rescue. Later, Boy discovers that the shaman is a member of the resistance and a friend of his mother. The shaman helps him cope with his trauma and begins to teach him martial arts. Every day, Boy engages in intense physical and mental training with the goal of killing Hilda. As part of his rigorous training, he eats bugs and is buried underground, breathing through bamboo sticks. Since he is both deaf and mute, he also learns to lip read to understand other people. During this time, Boy misses Mina a lot, who was his support system. The shaman advises him to forget his past, and even though Boy has successfully forgotten most of it, he can't forget his sister. He often hallucinates her talking to him, which motivates him even more to fulfill his mission. The scene then cuts to many years later, where Boy has matured into a young man and is fighting with his mentor. Skarsgård probably took this role just so he could rock that Avengers-sized 8-pack. Thanks to Shaman's training, he has strengthened his body and is finally close to winning. However, at the last moment, he's distracted by a hallucination of Mina and ends up getting defeated again. This disappoints the shaman, and he mutters that Boy is still not ready. One afternoon, the duo goes to the town where Boy meets a cute flower seller. She hands him a flower, and Boy is overjoyed to be treated gently for the first time in a long time. However, their sweet moment is cut short when a government soldier appears and attacks the residents. It turns out they have come to gather people for the upcoming culling ceremony. The flower girl tells Boy that she loves the culling, and Boy gives her the old Pennywise. The shaman and Boy quickly hide as they notice the royal family selecting people for the next round of killings. After a while, a woman in the crowd angrily screams at Glenn and calls him a puppet of the Kooi family. He gets angry and shoots at her, but ends up killing someone else. This sparks chaos as the residents start to attack the officials. Gideon is then forced to bring a helmet-wearing assassin named June 27, who slaughters everyone, causing problems. In the end, only 6 people are left for the ceremony. Witnessing this, Boy's painful memories of his past rush in, and he decides to kill Hilda at tonight's ceremony. The shaman warns him that he's not ready yet, but Boy ignores his advice and chases after Glenn and the others. While the gang is stuck in traffic, he sneaks into Glenn's car trunk and hides with a dead body. Shortly after, Glenn and Gideon arrive at a warehouse where they are confronted by an angry Melanie. She is furious at them for causing a massacre and not even gathering 12 people for the culling. The two men try to place the blame on each other, but Melanie orders them to grab 6 people off the street for the ceremony. Meanwhile, Boy exits the car trunk and begins walking through the warehouse. He is soon distracted by a vision of Mina that causes him to appear in front of the soldiers. They point a gun at him, but Boy uses his skills to finish them off one by one. However, no matter how many he kills, they keep coming. Boy eventually runs away from there, and while hiding, he comes across a man named Basho. The latter appears to be a prisoner, and he offers to help kill Hilda if Boy releases his handcuffs. Boy is hesitant at first, but eventually decides to free him. After this, the two team up and eliminate all the soldiers in the warehouse. They then get a hold of Glenn and proceed to torture him. Upon questioning, he reveals that Hilda, along with the entire Kooi family, will be at the mansion to celebrate the culling ceremony. Glenn begs to be let go, saying he's not as evil as the rest of the family. He even offers to help them sneak in, but Basho accidentally drops a vice on Glenn's face, killing him on the spot. After this, the two escape the warehouse and arrive at the secret location of the resistance. Suddenly, Boy is held at gunpoint by a man named Benny, but Basho intervenes and explains that he's a friend. The two men hug, and Basho wonders where everyone else is. Benny reveals that the authorities came after them and killed everyone. When Basho learns that his lover has also been killed, he is devastated and bursts into tears. Following this, the three begin preparing to sneak into Hilda's mansion. Boy puts on the chef's costume, while the other two disguise themselves as guards. When he walks through the mansion pretending to be a chef, he sees a vision of Mina again. She tells him to try the macaroons, and when he does, he realizes they're out of this world. Boy has never had a more delicious treat, and he continues to eat more. However, Basho approaches him quickly and reminds him not to get distracted. Boy has already blasted in his pants, so he's good to go now. In the next scene, Boy goes to the kitchen and removes his uniform. The other workers notice him, so he seizes the knives and fights them all. He also uses a cheese grater to brutally injure their skin. After killing everyone, Boy goes to the dining hall wall and slashes a guard's throat. Then he sees Hilda at the head table and quickly chops off her head in one stroke. As the others scream in terror, Boy grabs the decapitated head, only to realize it's not Hilda. Just then, Gideon appears with the soldiers and explains that he knew someone would try to kill Hilda, so he set up this trap. He then summons June 27, who begins to fight Boy. The two continue to exchange blows until Boy gains the upper hand and removes her helmet. When he sees her real face, he becomes distracted. Do I recognize her, or do I just think she's hot? And she quickly knocks him out. A while later, Boy awakens bound to a chair with June 27 in front of him. She asks him for the location of the shaman and promises to let him go if he helps. However, our hero is unwilling to betray his mentor, so the girl departs in frustration. Moments later, Gideon approaches him and reveals that Hilda is afraid of the shaman, which is why she continues to kill innocent people. He claims that he is tired of all the bloodshed and wants it to stop. Gideon begs Boy to make it easier and asks for the shaman's address, but he once again refuses. With no other option, Gideon decides to take him to the execution room. Shortly after, Boy is tied up and a shock collar is placed around his neck. Melanie approaches him and says he made a mistake by killing her husband. She then declares that she will make an example of him and brings him to the set. Soon, Hilda appears on the stage and begins to give a speech. Everything starts out fine, but she soon becomes mentally unstable and points a gun at the crowd. But before she can cause any damage, Melanie rushes up to her and takes her away from there. Following this, the ceremony begins, and the executioners start killing people one after another. With his hands tied, Boy feels scared and realizes he cannot get away. But seconds before he is killed, he recalls that Gideon has secretly handed him a scalpel earlier. Boy uses it to successfully cut his ties and run away, but Melanie was prepared for this, and she activates the electric collar on his neck, rendering him incapacitated. A group of elves then carry Boy and place him on a table. A man dressed in goat attire appears and prepares to kill him with a hammer, but the man ends up attacking the elves, and he is revealed to be Basho. Benny also appears on stage and hands Boy a brass knuckle gun. The three of them then join forces and begin to fight the soldiers together. In the midst of this chaos, Melanie approaches the stage and attempts to shoot Boy, but Benny steps in and takes the bullet instead. The poor guy is fatally injured and ends up dying in Boy's arms. Unfortunately, Melanie uses this opportunity to shoot Basho as well. Boy then rushes to the stage and immediately tackles her by using a pineapple mascot as a shield. After that, he ties her to a chair, but she claims that this will only boost her television ratings. Melanie challenges him to make her a martyr on live television. Boy obliges and smashes a camera into her face, killing her instantly. As the camera moves away, we see her body collapse to the ground, revealing a face pierced by metal spikes. Following this, Boy heads outside into the hallways and discovers Gideon lying on the ground. Gideon reveals that his sister Melanie shot him for betrayal. He then hands Boy the key card that will allow him access to the bunker where Hilda's hiding. Boy proceeds to kill him, but a vision of Mina appears and orders him to stop. She says that Gideon helped him when no one else did. However, Boy responds that she's not real and that his sister is dead. As soon as he says this, the hallucination disappears and he brutally decapitates Gideon with a sword. He then makes his way to the bunker where Hilda is hiding. She appears on the door's screen and warns that if he enters, he will die for nothing. However, Boy insists that it is not for nothing and shows her a drawing of Mina from their childhood. Hilda is taken aback by the picture and abruptly cuts the feed. Following this, Boy opens the bunker door and a group of soldiers confront him, but they surprisingly don't shoot, and June 27 reveals that Hilda is waiting for him. Boy then drops his sword and enters a lavish living room. There, he is stunned to see his childhood self in the large Koi family photo. At this moment, memories flood back, and he finally recalls that Hilda is his mother. She immediately hugs him and states that she's been looking for him all these years. In a flashback, we see that Boy was participating in the culling, not as a victim, but as an executioner. His mother gave him a gun and forced him to shoot the shaman and his family. The terrified Boy ended up firing clumsily, killing the shaman's wife and daughter. He then hastily fled the scene, and the shaman also took this chance to escape. Afterwards, Boy went to the woods where the shaman found him. The man then used LSD and psychological torture to warp his mind, making him forget his identity. He convinced Boy that his family had died, killed by none other than the dictator Hilda. He also cut out his tongue, made him deaf, and set him out to avenge himself. In the present, Boy is shaken when he realizes that he's part of this monstrous family. He is even more shocked when Hilda reveals that his sister is none other than June 27, whom he thought was dead. June 27 removes her helmet, and she is emotional to see her brother after such a long time. Boy just feels awkward that he thought she was hot earlier. Hilda then pleads with Boy to reveal the shaman's address dress so that she can take her revenge. But he still doesn't want to betray his master. Enraged, Hilda tells June 27 that her brother is long gone and that he doesn't care about the family. She tells her to kill him and be done with it. June 27 then picks up an axe, but she gets emotional as she recalls their childhood memories. She then suddenly turns around and strikes Hilda in the forehead instead. Following this, many soldiers attack her and Boy, but the siblings work together to defeat them with a Gatling gun. As more soldiers arrive, they rush to the elevator to get away. Once there, June 27 tells Boy that although their mother kept saying he was dead, she never lost hope and believed he was alive. She explains that she wanted to take revenge on those who hurt him, and this was the reason that she became a monster. Moments later, the elevator door opens, and they step outside to meet the shaman. He congratulates Boy on completing the mission, but insists that it's not over yet. He then asks him to kill his sister as well, because she's also part of the evil. Boy thinks about it for a while, but refuses, as she's the only family member he has. Because of this, the shaman loses his cool and starts attacking both of them. He lands a powerful blow on June 27's head, breaking her helmet. With his sister badly hurt, Boy begins to fight the shaman alone. He is defenseless against his teacher, who knows his every move and weakness, but he keeps on fighting, and somehow manages to tear off the shaman's necklace, which has a small, sharp rock on it. Boy then thrusts the necklace into his mentor's throat and finally kills him. In the aftermath, he goes to check on his sister, who is badly injured. She asks him to run away and says that he's free to live his life now. However, Boy refuses to leave her behind and carries her out of the place. The movie ends with a flashback to their childhood, where they made a pact to stick together and protect each other with their lives. Subscribe for more videos like this, turn on notifications, and leave a like to help the channel out. Thank you for watching.